it's addressed to everyone, so I'll just read it. What do you think about purchasing locally for goods and services instead of going out of town? So we're going to start kind of... Here's what I'm going to do. Because this is the last question, I'm going to just sort of hop back and forth all over the place this time. And I'm going to let Tom go first because, you know, he's a school guy and we don't want him to start. So, Tom, would you please respond to this question?
Say it again.
What do you think about purchasing locally for goods and services instead of going out of town?
Well, excellent. Obviously, we want to promote our community. Personally, I know myself and my family, we try to find whatever we can in town. We just bought 2 vehicles in town. But sometimes you find that you just can't get what you absolutely need, and then you have to go out of town. We're just not that big for some specialty kind of things. But obviously, you promote the businesses in town as much as possible.
Thank you. We're going to jump to Ed Lane this time. Would you like to respond?
This is a very complex question in my mind, but I am in favor of buying local. I am in favor of supporting local contractors because the people that we buy from locally are putting it back in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to jump to Jay Garbett.
It should be the first priority of any council to find the best price for the goods and services that it requires for its citizens. That may not always be the local price, but it still may be the right thing to do if you're being fiscally responsible. What I dislike about the question is how many people in the room have a Costco membership? There's some more hands that should go up because I've seen you there. And so what I decry is the hypocrisy about talking around the coffee group about shopping local, but when push comes to shove, we go elsewhere. My products and services that I sell at my business cost the same whether you live in Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto, or Drumheller. And so sometimes I get resentful that I'm supposed to pay 25% more for a product or service because you live here. And so all I would expect for anyone in response to government is to use their common sense to get the best price. Unfortunately, that may not always be the local price.
Thank you, Jay. Now we'll move on to Tom Armstrong. Would you like to respond to this question, Tom?
I would have to agree with Jay on that. But I think that we should do our very best to use local goods and services wherever they are equitable as far as price go, and as well as quality. Like if the person can do the job, they should get a good crack at it. And it's a competitive world. They got to compete too.
Thank you. Tara Simchuk, would you like to respond to this?
I believe in shopping local. As Jay said, we need to be looking at the taxpayers' money that we're spending. We need to also give the opportunity for our local retailers to see if they can come in at a competitive price if it is things for the town that are bulk buys. Because that's what the other businesses are doing, is they're giving you a bulk buy price for the amount that you're selling. So we need to look into those issues with our local. And we have to remember sometimes that buying local can be cheaper. Not always, but it can be. We have lower overhead than other retailers in other centers. And I have tons of customers personally that shop in my store from Calgary and Airdrie on a regular basis. So fiscal responsibility would be your first choice.
Thank you. Doug Stanford.
That question can be interpreted many ways. Now, to me, is it to do with the construction? Is it people coming in for construction here, or is it people buying groceries? Now, if it's for construction, there's a bid system, and if they come in at a lower bid and can do the same job, their cost is higher to come into town, so I think our local people should be looking at that very closely, and I do think the bid system, I would probably go with the lowest bid. Now, when it comes to groceries, we do believe in buying local. There's no way I'm gonna drive 100 miles to buy most of my groceries. And when I'm in Calgary at certain times, I do stop in at Costco, but I don't buy the store out like maybe some people do. Jay?
We're gonna move on to Lisa.
Personally, I believe 100% in shopping locally, but as a lot of people have stated, there's times that you can't get what you want in our community. So it is expected, I suppose in a sense, to look to the bigger city centers for stuff that isn't offered here. And I personally would like to see it offered here. I could really use a Reitman's, but we do what we can, and any money that we put back into our home, it's wonderful.
Thank you. Sandy Brown.
Yes, I'd like to address this as part of the town council and the purchases that they might make. And I feel that they should be dealing as locally as possible, because first of all, the people invest money to be in this town, to be in business, and one of the chances they get is to service this community with services. It could be automobiles, it could be electronics, it could be computers, telephones. There's lots of things that the town can supply directly. The costs might be a little higher, but the service might be twice as good, because it's local and it's close and you can get a hold of people. So I think that this part of the program that we should be looking, the council should be looking at that completely.
Lorenzo Lamro. No, you're not.
I believe that we should be purchasing locally. I mean, I've done it with Ski Hill wherever I can. I've purchased locally, and I get great services from people in town, and that's awesome. One of the problems that we do have is we have a lack of critical mass. We are missing lots of businesses. We are missing lots of things in this town that if we had, we would be able to purchase locally. So we start going outside. We go and start looking for asphalt company out of Brooks. We go and start purchasing in Costco's and stuff like this. And I think what we need to do as a town is we need to make a wish list of businesses we like to invite. The businesses that are coming to town, we should give them breaks on their taxes and go and start building the things and start investing in the future in the things that we need. For 20 seconds. And with something like that, I think we shall see that buying locally is going to become a much, much better solution than what we were able to do today.
Thank you. Cheryl.
The town of Drumheller has a policy on purchasing. Up to a certain dollar amount, we put out tenders and proposals. Over a certain dollar amount, other tenders. I believe it's a minimum of 2 to 3. We look at locals. We have, when the tenders or proposals go out, whether it be contracting, whether it be computers, desks, office equipment, whatever it is, paper, it is out there on the web for people to bid on. And they need to come back with a good price. And as someone else has said, volume buying. So I believe that the town, I believe personally very much in local buying, but I also know that there is a policy that we do follow. And perhaps we need to do better communication to let you know that we are fiscally responsible. We are trying to be fiscally responsible. And sometimes it isn't the local person that gets the bid, but we always encourage them to try to do.
Thank you. Mike Hanson.
Well, here we go again, what everybody else has said, I'll try and say something about now. I think the big thing is, I've been on the other side of the fence, and a lot of businesses in town have probably seen my face. I'm the guy that comes begging when we have to put on the stampede, the demolition, and all this. And, I don't know, wrong choice of words probably, but I appreciate the hell out of you. I buy vehicles, I don't always get the same deal as everybody else. Sometimes you get pushed in my face that, you know, oh, you should have bought it someplace else, so you get it cheaper. But I can go see that man again next year and say, I need this, and he'll give it to me again. I think everything that, like Cheryl said, it goes up for tender, and everybody's got an opportunity. I know some of the local businesses like to bitch about it, that they don't get a chance, but sometimes you have to open the paper, and it's in there, right in front of your face. Take the 10 minutes, go down and see him, get the paperwork, put in your bid, the same as everybody else.
Andrew Berto.
I can't help but wish that the last question was maybe something a little more meaty, but I think it's a good example of a question that we all face every day. I mean, each of us in this room has to make decisions about what we buy and where we buy it from. And 99% of the time, if we can get what we want in town, we buy it here. I like to buy from people I know. The town is very much the same way. And it's difficult to explain it further than that. When it comes to smaller purchases, we're already doing our best. When it comes to larger purchases, we are bound by law to follow certain procedures, and it's in all our best interest to choose wisely when it comes to contract and purchases of that nature. And typically, the large ones tend to come from out of town.
Thank you. Terry Heeman.
I'm not sure how else to say it, it's already been said a number of times. After a cost analysis is done, if there's a local bid, a local price that is close to, then the only option is to shop locally.
Blaine McDonald.
Thank you. The only other thing I wanted to add, of course, shopping local is a priority, and everything everybody has said here is true. What gets me, and we don't have control about it, enshrined in legislation at a certain amount of tender, we have to go beyond even town. We go interprovincial at a certain level, and that's all legislated. Furthermore, the policy that Cheryl referred to is actually a bylaw, so it's enshrined right in our law, the procedure that we follow. I know that on multiple occasions our administration has actually taken the bid package and sent it to local businesses saying, here it is, bid, please, 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 to encourage them to bid. It's not that they're not bidding, just to make sure that they are actually bidding on it locally. The thing that really gets me is contractors. You've got a big, huge contract, and you go with a contractor that nobody locally can handle, then the contractor comes in and hopefully goes with local sub-trades, but if they don't, they don't. They get the contract and they do what they do.
Thank you. Bob Hanna, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I believe in purchasing in this town, but I do believe that it needs competition. For example, today I needed an item to come to this meeting, and I went to one of the businesses downtown to purchase the item, and I couldn't get it. So that's the reason that I think we need competition on this, and have more people buying in Drumheller than out.
Thank you. Well, that concludes what we had originally planned for a 30-minute question